Well, I think the first thing that I want to do is to congratulate the current serving National Youth Director, the Reverend Reuben King, and the youth board and the team of youth leaders that he has working with him over the past 8 years. They have done a sterling job in terms of engaging with our young people. His time is a little bit different from our time. The social challenges, in a way, they were similar and perhaps even a little bit more intensified now in terms of unemployment. But back then we had unemployment. We had the whole thing about children not performing well in school, expulsion from school, underachievement in education. We had unemployment. And in the mid-'80s, you know, the country was beset by riots and that sense of decadence and broken down of the society. Those were some of the kind of national challenge that not only affected, I would say, Church of God young people, or young people, and in black young people in particular, way back then. Within the church, there was also challenges. We had the situation where dress codes were an issue, what people could wear to church and how they attire themselves. Hat was a big thing, no jewelry, no makeup, and all of those things were issues that young people were dealing with in those days. But thankfully, we can say that we came through it and we retained quite a lot of our young people. Some of them have gone on to do great things in the university and in the community as a whole. And so, through all of those, what you'd call challenges in the society, we have retained a significant amount of our young people. And one of the things that really impressed me way back then was that, you know, we were seeing more of our young people getting educated, going into colleges and universities. And they loved the church so much, and they would come back from their universities, sit down in our churches, perhaps with leaders who were not as educated as they were, but they were able to receive the spiritual teaching and discipline, and so improve their lives. So those were some of the social challenges that we face within and outside of the church. The church thankfully offered them in seeming chaos that was out there, offered them a home, a place where they could have fellowship, where they could have fun, and where they could develop their Christian lives. And I'm thankful for having the privilege back then to you know, play a part in the lives of the young people back then. I was blessed to follow an excellent visionary leader in the person of Dr. Parkinson, who had quite a lot of good programs going on. Had the youth camp program, the youth talent program. And I was able to come and build upon that foundation and improve them, and did some additions. For example, we had junior camp, which catered for young children from age 7 up to age 12, and then we had the early teen camps, and then we had the youth camp. And it was really nice to see them coming from the different parts of the country at Hoverstone, as we had then, and camping out and going on treasure hunts and going down to the lake and going to different parts, places of interest. That for me was very, very rewarding and special. I was privileged to negotiate with the Department of Education and Science to get them to identify with our programs, and was able to secure significant funding from the Department of Education and Science to help us with our farming project. We took up a good portion of the land at Overston and did organic vegetables and potatoes, onions, the whole range. Was able to harvest those and send them back into the inner city to the churches for sale and just to build. That was very, very rewarding for me. I think back then we had some very great convention. Back then, the National Youth Convention was the highlight, I think, of the church life. And and we were always oversubscribed. The Montfort Hall was like a little mecca, and that was appealing not only to our Church of God young people, but also to young people from different denominations. They were coming there to get their spiritual enrichment, their information and instruction as to how to succeed in life and how to prosper spiritually. I did, I think, 8 of those conventions, and they were very, very rewarding for me. So, and in addition to that, we developed some very good youth leaders. Youth leadership, as I said, my predecessor had programs of training youth leaders, district youth leaders, local youth leaders throughout the range. And it was good to see some of them emerging. And some of them have now gone on to be significant leaders within the church at the local level and the district level. Some have even gone on to serve on the National Executive Committee of the church. So that has been very, very rewarding indeed. There was a period in the Judges in the Old Testament when the judges and everybody just fall short of the responsibility that God had given to them. And one of those verses says there was a generation of them who grew up who didn't know the Lord. And if I have any kind of anxiety and any fear about the future, is whether or not, with the increase of the secular humanistic society, whether or not we're not creating a generation of people who really and truly don't have a good relationship or positive relationship with God. Whether or not they have not just bought into this thing about having a religion, but the reality of it, salvation, a saving experience of Jesus Christ, whether or not that is a reality in some of their lives. So I would want to encourage you and all those who are serving in the position of leadership of our young people that we seek as much as we can to impart to them the word of life, that we make the education, the Christian education of our young people a priority, that we develop a Christian philosophy of education that, unashamedly we're pointing people to Christ, not just to have a good social time, but to have the reality of Christ living in their lives. And then finally, that verse, I think, in Acts, where it talks about David, after he had served his generation by the will of God, he fell on sleep. And we have a responsibility to serve our generation, to point them to the Christ of God. And if we do that, we can look forward with anticipation to qualifying when we hear Jesus say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." I think this is what we're all working for. So be encouraged. May God bless our young people and give them a grip, a firm hold upon this faith so that they too can make their contribution towards our church. God bless you. Thanks very much.